For decades, oatmeal has been presented as the ultimate symbol of a healthy breakfast. Doctors, magazines, and even TV commercials have repeated that a bowl of oatmeal a day was enough to keep your heart strong, your digestion regular, and your energy stable. But is the story really that simple? The truth is, behind the image of a perfect food, there's a set of hidden mistakes that can jeopardize the very things we value most after 60: vitality, balance, and quality of life. Imagine this: you wake up, prepare your bowl of oatmeal with milk, maybe sweeten it with a bit of sugar or honey, add some dried fruit, and feel a sense of accomplishment. After all, you're eating something you've always heard is nutritious, right? But just a few hours later, hunger strikes back, stronger than it should. Your blood sugar spikes and then crashes, bringing on fatigue, irritability, and even difficulty concentrating. Does that sound familiar? This is just one example of how eating oatmeal the wrong way can produce the opposite of the desired effects. It's not about demonizing a food that, when used correctly, can be a powerful ally against high cholesterol, inflammation, and premature aging. The problem lies in the daily oversights, the small, automatic choices that, when repeated over time, turn a healthy ingredient into a silent trigger for weight gain, metabolic changes, and even digestive issues. And that's precisely why we need to talk about the 8 most common mistakes surrounding oatmeal consumption, mistakes that many seniors make, believing they're taking care of their health, when in reality, they could be undoing all their hard work. You might be asking, so, should I give up oatmeal altogether? The answer is no. The secret is to know where the dangers lie and how to avoid them. It's not about eliminating foods, but about learning to use them the right way, at the right time, and in the right amounts. Science has already shown that small adjustments in how you prepare and combine oatmeal can determine whether it works for your body or against it. And it's this fine line between medicine and poison that we are going to explore together. Throughout this video, you'll discover the main slip-ups that turn a simple bowl of porridge into a hidden risk. Some of them seem so harmless that even health professionals overlook them. But they all have a direct impact on your energy, your heart, your gut, and even your memory. Each hidden mistake carries a valuable lesson that could change your relationship with oatmeal forever. And the first one is the most common of all, the one that almost every senior makes without even realizing it. If this topic has already piqued your curiosity and you think it's important to uncover these traps, hit that like button right now. This not only helps the channel grow but, more importantly, ensures that more people discover how to avoid mistakes that can be costly to their health. If there's one mistake most people make without realizing it, it's believing that the more oatmeal, the better. It seems logical: if 1 spoonful helps the heart, 3 spoonfuls must help even more. But science doesn't work that way. Oatmeal, despite being rich in fiber, also contains starch, and in excess, this starch turns into rapidly absorbed glucose, causing blood sugar spikes. For anyone over 60, this poses a double threat. It increases the risk of insulin resistance, promotes the accumulation of abdominal fat, and accelerates silent inflammatory processes. The glycemic index is a simple but powerful concept. It measures how quickly a food releases sugar into the bloodstream. When eaten in small amounts, oatmeal releases energy in a balanced way. But in large portions, that balance is broken, and the body has to work extra hard to stabilize glucose levels. The result? A sharp drop in energy, drowsiness after meals, and that premature hunger that leads to snacking more than you should throughout the day. It's common to hear seniors say, "But I only eat healthy food, I don't understand why my cholesterol and blood sugar aren't improving." Often, the problem isn't what they eat, but how much they eat. After 60, the body processes nutrients differently. Metabolism slows down, muscle mass decreases, and daily energy expenditure is lower. This means the same portion that was beneficial at 40 can be excessive at 70. What was once balanced can now be overkill. A proper portion of oatmeal for most seniors is 2 to 3 tablespoons, which is about 25 grams. It may not seem like much, but it's enough to provide the benefits of fiber without overwhelming the body. The mistake is making oatmeal the foundation of the meal, filling huge bowls and believing it's a miracle solution. When used in excess, oatmeal stops being a remedy and starts behaving like hidden sugar. Now, you might be thinking, but if quantity is important, isn't it enough to just control the spoonfuls? The answer is no. Because there's another detail that directly influences oatmeal's effect: the preparation method. Overcooking it, mixing it with the wrong ingredients, or turning your porridge into a disguised dessert can be even more harmful than the excess itself. And that's exactly what we need to talk about next. Have you ever noticed how a healthy food can become an enemy depending on how it's prepared? Oatmeal is a classic example. The grain, in its simple form, offers fiber, B vitamins, and minerals like magnesium and iron. But just one slip-up in preparation can cause all those benefits to be lost amidst empty calories and hidden sugar. And the curious thing is, it's almost always done with the best intentions. Think about traditional porridge. It starts with oats and milk. So far, so good. But to give it more flavor, in go refined sugar, excessive honey, or even condensed milk. The result: the dish that was supposed to stabilize blood sugar ends up causing glycemic spikes as intense as a dessert. Instead of providing steady energy, it creates the dangerous cycle of hunger and fatigue, especially for those who already have a tendency toward prediabetes or type 2 diabetes. And it doesn't stop there. Many people believe that cooking oatmeal for longer makes it lighter and easier to digest. In practice, the opposite happens. Prolonged cooking breaks down the soluble fibers, reducing their satiating power and weakening their positive impact on cholesterol control. In other words, the creamier and stickier the mixture gets, the less real protection it offers to your heart and arteries. It's a technical detail, but one that completely changes the final effect on the body. A real-life case helps to understand this better. A 67-year-old man, disciplined with his diet, had his oatmeal porridge every day, fortified with brown sugar and candied fruits. He believed he was taking care of his health until a routine checkup revealed high blood sugar and triglyceride levels. He was surprised. After all, he didn't eat sweets or drink soda. The villain was right there in his breakfast preparation. When he adjusted the recipe, reduced the cooking time, and removed the extra sugars, his lab results improved within a few months. This example shows that the issue isn't just the food itself, but the context in which it's consumed. Oatmeal can be a powerful health tool, but it's not meant to be mixed with syrups, sugary creams, or industrial preparations that mask its true nature. And the most surprising detail? There's a very common ingredient used with oatmeal that seems harmless, but when combined with it, can become a silent villain that inflames the body and accelerates aging. Most people don't imagine that the real oatmeal trap lies in what we put alongside it. After all, what's the point of choosing a fiber-rich food if it's accompanied by ingredients that inflame the body? The body works like an orchestra. If one instrument is out of tune, the entire melody loses its harmony. And on your plate, this dissonance appears when we mix oatmeal with silent villains that sabotage its positive effects. A classic example is margarine. Many still believe it's lighter than butter, but the truth is that margarine contains artificial fats that promote chronic inflammation, accelerate cellular aging, and increase cardiovascular risk. When combined with oatmeal, it creates a dangerous contrast: on one side, fibers that should protect the heart; on the other, fats that directly attack the blood vessels. It's like giving your body two opposite commands, leaving it in a state of permanent conflict. Another common mistake is adding processed cookies, chocolate powders, or sweetened syrups to the porridge. They might make the meal tastier, but they are loaded with artificial colors, preservatives, and excess sugar. The result is a dish that looks healthy but acts as fuel for silent inflammatory processes, which are responsible for joint pain, difficulty losing weight, and even long-term memory loss. What should be a boost to your health ends up being an invitation to disease. Science has shown that low-grade chronic inflammation is one of the biggest accelerators of aging. It doesn't show immediate signs, but it acts like a hidden ember that, over time, damages tissues and organs. Mixing oatmeal with pro-inflammatory ingredients is like throwing gasoline on that flame. Instead of enhancing longevity, the dish becomes a trigger for problems that could have been avoided with simple choices. And don't think that only processed foods are to blame. Even some homemade combinations can be treacherous. Dried fruits loaded with sugar, excessive honey, or refined vegetable oils might seem like natural options, but when consumed without balance, they also increase inflammation. This is where the difference lies between aging with vitality and carrying a tired, inflamed body. Now, you must be wondering, so what can I do to enjoy oatmeal without falling into these traps? The answer involves not only choosing your toppings wisely but also considering a factor that almost no one thinks about: the time of day you eat this food. And that is precisely what can turn oatmeal from a silent ally into an enemy. Have you ever heard the phrase, "It's not just what you eat, but when you eat"? Well, it applies perfectly to oatmeal. Many seniors believe they can eat this food at any time of day without consequences, but science shows that the timing of consumption can completely change its effect on the body. Eating oatmeal for breakfast can be a balanced energy boost. Eating a generous bowl at night can become a burden on your body and your sleep. During the night, our metabolism naturally slows down. The body goes into recovery mode. It regulates hormones, repairs tissues, and prepares the brain to consolidate memories. When we eat slow-digesting foods like a large portion of oatmeal before bed, this process is disrupted. Instead of focusing on repair, the body has to work hard to break down starches and fibers, making sleep more shallow and interrupting important phases like deep sleep, which is essential for brain health. Another detail: oatmeal contains complex carbohydrates that, if consumed in large quantities at dinner or as a late-night snack, can raise blood sugar levels overnight. This silent sugar spike not only overworks the pancreas but also contributes to the accumulation of abdominal fat, precisely where seniors struggle most to lose weight. Many report waking up tired even after hours of sleep, and they never imagine the cause could be that seemingly innocent bowl before bed. This doesn't mean oatmeal should be completely forbidden at night. A small portion combined with light protein can even help with insomnia. But the common practice of preparing large, sweet, and heavy porridge after dinner is a major reason for sleep disturbances, poor digestion, and weight gain in people over 60. Adjusting your consumption time can be as transformative as choosing the right type of the food itself. Imagine the scene: two people with almost identical habits. One eats oatmeal for breakfast with fresh fruit and seeds, the other saves most of their portion for dinner. Both believe they are taking care of their health. But months later, the results are opposite. One gains vitality and intestinal regularity, while the other accumulates fatigue, has difficulty sleeping, and has unstable blood sugar. All because of the time they chose to eat it. And even if you get the quantity and the time of day right, there's an invisible detail that many people ignore: the actual quality of the oatmeal that reaches your table. The danger isn't just in the preparation or the timing, but also in contamination that can come from where you least expect it. When we think of a natural food like oatmeal, the last thing we imagine is that it could be contaminated. But the truth is, before it gets to your table, oatmeal goes through agricultural and industrial processes that can hide invisible risks. And many of these risks are related to something that doesn't show up in the taste, smell, or texture, but that, in the long run, can seriously compromise health, especially for those over 60. One of the biggest problems is the use of pesticides like glyphosate, a substance widely applied to cereal crops. Residues of this chemical have been detected in different batches of oatmeal around the world. The danger? Glyphosate is associated with gut imbalances, chronic inflammation, and even an increased risk of some types of cancer, according to recent studies. For those with a more sensitive system, every small accumulated dose can take its toll over time. Another little talked about issue is mycotoxins, toxins released by fungi that grow on poorly stored grains. They are invisible to the naked eye but can cause anything from digestive problems to liver damage. The scary part is that oatmeal, being a grain that retains moisture, is particularly susceptible to this type of contamination. This means that even a seemingly healthy portion can carry a hidden enemy. And we can't forget heavy metals, such as cadmium and lead, which can be present in contaminated soils and end up being absorbed by the plant. Exposure to these metals is cumulative. They don't leave the body easily, accumulating in bones and tissues, and over the years, they can contribute to bone weakening, kidney problems, and cognitive decline. Exactly what we want to avoid by choosing a more natural diet. The good news is that there are practical ways to reduce these risks. Choosing oatmeal from a reliable source, preferably organic, significantly reduces exposure to pesticides. Checking for quality seals on the packaging and storing the food in a dry, airy place protected from moisture also helps prevent fungal growth. These are simple details, but they make all the difference in ensuring that oatmeal fulfills its role as a health ally. And even when the oatmeal is of good quality, there's still a mistake many people make every day: forgetting something essential that accompanies this grain from the first contact in the stomach: water. Without it, even the best oatmeal in the world can become a problem for your gut. And before we continue, I want to hear from you. Have you ever made any of these mistakes with oatmeal? Write in the comments below. I'd love to hear about your experience. Of all the mistakes related to oatmeal consumption, this is one of the most underestimated: forgetting about water. It seems like a minor detail, but it makes a huge difference in how your body functions. After all, oatmeal is incredibly rich in soluble fibers, especially the famous beta-glucan. These fibers act like a sponge inside your intestine. They absorb water, form a gel, and help regulate bowel movements. But what happens if this sponge doesn't find enough liquid? It hardens, gets stuck, and can cause the exact opposite of what you want: constipation, gas, and abdominal discomfort. Many seniors turn to oatmeal specifically to improve their digestion but end up reporting that they felt more backed up after adding it to their routine. This doesn't mean oatmeal doesn't work, it just means the equation is incomplete. For every portion of oatmeal, the body needs at least one extra glass of water. Without this support, the fiber cannot perform its function of sweeping away toxins and facilitating transit. Instead of aiding digestion, it jams the process. Dehydration is a recurring problem after the age of 60. The natural thirst mechanism diminishes, causing many to simply forget to drink fluids throughout the day. The result is a body running on economy mode, with thicker blood, overworked kidneys, and a sluggish intestine. In this scenario, introducing fiber without increasing hydration is like adding more cars to an already congested highway. Instead of flowing, traffic comes to a complete stop. Imagine this situation: a 72-year-old woman starts eating oatmeal daily to control her cholesterol. At first, she believes she's on the right track. But, without increasing her water intake, she starts to feel intestinal discomfort, cramping, and even abdominal pain. Thinking that the oatmeal didn't agree with her, she considers removing it from her diet. In reality, a simple adjustment was all that was needed: an extra glass of water with her meal. In just a few weeks, the effect would be completely different: regulated digestion, lower cholesterol, and a feeling of lightness. Science confirms it: beta-glucan needs liquid to form the viscous gel that reduces the absorption of fat and sugar in the blood. Without liquid, this process doesn't happen correctly. In other words, even the best organic, well-prepared oatmeal loses much of its potential if not accompanied by something as basic as water. But this isn't the only mistake that can turn oatmeal into an enemy. There is an even more serious error, one that often goes unnoticed, that can directly impact bone and muscle health as you age. Many seniors believe that by regularly consuming oatmeal, they are already strengthening their bones. After all, it's seen as complete and often associated with benefits for the body's structure. But here's the truth: oatmeal is not a significant source of calcium. Relying solely on it for bone health can be a serious mistake, capable of accelerating problems like osteopenia and osteoporosis. And the worst part is, this happens silently, with no obvious symptoms until a fall or fracture reveals the damage. Oatmeal provides important minerals like magnesium, phosphorus, and manganese, which contribute to bone maintenance. However, calcium, the essential nutrient for bone density, is present in very small amounts. When a senior places all their trust in this one food, they may be building a sandcastle. It looks solid, but it crumbles at the first impact. Studies show that after 60, bone calcium loss accelerates due to a decrease in regulatory hormones, like estrogen in women and testosterone in men. If the diet doesn't provide adequate replacement, the body steals calcium from the skeleton to maintain vital functions, such as muscle contraction and heartbeat. The result: fragile bones, a high risk of falls, and slow recovery after any accident. An example helps visualize this. Imagine a man who religiously eats his oatmeal porridge every morning. He believes he is taking care of his bone health and even skips calcium-rich foods like fermented milk, kefir, sardines, or dark leafy greens. Over time, he discovers from a test that his bone density has dropped more than expected. His trust was placed in an insufficient source, and his body paid the price. The secret, therefore, is not to abandon oatmeal, but to combine it intelligently. Adding milk or calcium-fortified plant-based beverages, mixing it with plain yogurt, or including sesame seeds and almonds can turn a simple bowl into a real bone booster. This way, oatmeal serves as a vehicle that enhances nutrient absorption but doesn't bear the sole responsibility for the skeleton. And don't be mistaken into thinking that any type of oatmeal will guarantee these benefits. There is a huge difference between the versions available on the market, and blindly trusting instant oatmeal can be another serious error, perhaps one of the most common. If there's one mistake that has silently spread among consumers, it's believing that all versions of oatmeal are the same. Advertisements make it seem like rolled oats, quick oats, or instant oats offer the exact same benefits. But the reality is that the type of oatmeal you choose can completely change how your body reacts. And the instant version, so practical and quick, is often the most deceptive of all. Rolled oats, or old-fashioned oats, keep the grain structure almost intact. This means slower digestion, a gradual release of energy, and a greater positive impact on blood sugar control. Quick-cooking oats, although more processed, still retain a good portion of their fiber, offering a reasonable balance. But the instant version is a different story. It's pre-cooked, ultra-refined, and often mixed with sugars, flavorings, and even artificial colors. The result? A food that should protect against glucose spikes starts to cause them. Studies show that the smaller the particle size of the oat, the higher its glycemic index. This means that instant oatmeal, despite its convenience, releases sugar into the blood much more quickly. For seniors, this detail can be crucial. Unstable blood sugar is associated with a higher risk of fatigue, memory loss, chronic inflammation, and even cardiovascular disease. Instead of providing stable energy, instant oatmeal creates a dangerous up and down, like a metabolic roller coaster. Another worrying detail is that many packets of instant oatmeal sold in stores aren't just oats. They contain pre-made mixes with brown sugar, molasses, or even bits of candied fruit. What seemed like a healthy breakfast turns into a disguised dessert. For anyone seeking longevity and balance, this is a trap that silently undermines their efforts. Imagine two seniors, one prepares their oatmeal with rolled oats, adds fresh fruit, and a bit of plain yogurt. The other opens a packet of strawberry-flavored instant oatmeal, ready in 2 minutes. Both believe they are making healthy choices. But after a few months, the first one notices more stable blood sugar, controlled cholesterol, and regular digestion. The second one faces weight gain, fluctuating energy levels, and tests showing a worsening of metabolic markers. All because of the difference between convenience and quality. So, before choosing speed, it's worth reflecting. Your health deserves a few extra minutes of preparation. Avoiding the instant oatmeal trap is one of the simplest and most powerful steps to turn this grain into an ally for longevity. By the way, if you know someone who eats oatmeal every day but might be falling into these traps, share this video right now. This information could be the wake-up call that makes all the difference to their health. But even when you choose the right version, there's still a little explored secret. How you combine oatmeal with other foods can be the key to multiplying its benefits. If we've talked a lot about mistakes so far, now it's time to show how to turn oatmeal into a true health ally. And the key lies in smart combinations. Eating oatmeal alone can be beneficial, but it's in partnership with other foods that it reveals its full potential. After all, no nutrient acts alone. The body is a network that depends on balance and synergy. One of the best strategies is to combine oatmeal with quality proteins. Adding plain yogurt, kefir, or even scrambled eggs alongside your portion of oatmeal helps reduce the glycemic impact. This happens because proteins slow down the absorption of carbohydrates, preventing blood sugar spikes. For those who already have insulin resistance or diabetes, this simple adjustment can radically change the body's response after a meal. Another powerful ally is antioxidants, found in berries like strawberries, blueberries, and blackberries. They fight free radicals and reduce inflammation, enhancing the positive effects of oatmeal. When you mix fiber with antioxidants, you create a shield against premature aging and degenerative diseases. It's like giving your body not just fuel, but also protection against the natural wear and tear of age. Cinnamon is another ingredient that deserves a spotlight. Besides enhancing flavor, it helps improve insulin sensitivity and keep blood sugar under control. Small daily amounts already make a difference, and the best part is, they make the dish much tastier without the need for artificial sweeteners. It's a perfect example of how nature offers spices that care for the body while pleasing the palate. Seeds, such as chia, flax, and sesame, also elevate the nutritional level of oatmeal. They add healthy fats, extra fiber, and minerals like calcium and magnesium, which are essential for bone and muscle health. Additionally, they promote prolonged satiety, which helps with weight management. A simple addition transforms a common porridge into a complete and balanced meal. But be careful, even the smartest combinations lose their effect if your lifestyle doesn't keep up. It's no use adjusting your plate if your body remains sedentary and deprived of movement. Oatmeal can provide energy and nutrients, but it's physical activity that ensures these resources are used correctly. And that's precisely where the next mistake lies, believing that health is built only in the kitchen, ignoring the importance of a body in motion. So far, we've talked a lot about food choices. But there's a mistake that happens outside the kitchen that can nullify all your efforts with oatmeal, a sedentary lifestyle. It's no use preparing the perfect porridge, choosing the most nutritious version, and making smart combinations if your body remains still for hours, without movement. Health doesn't just depend on what we put on our plate, but also on how we use the energy it provides. After 60, muscle mass naturally declines. This process, called sarcopenia, reduces basal metabolism and makes weight control difficult. When the diet is rich in fiber and nutrients, but the body doesn't move, the gears simply don't turn. The fibers in oatmeal, for example, need the muscle contractions and intestinal flow stimulated by movement to fulfill their function of regulating transit and eliminating toxins. Without physical activity, even the best diet loses its power. Science confirms it. Active seniors have better blood sugar control, a lower risk of cardiovascular disease, and greater memory preservation. This is because movement acts as a switch that turns on internal protective mechanisms. Walking, dancing, stretching, or light resistance exercises not only burn calories but also help the body make better use of nutrients like those in oatmeal. It's as if diet and exercise are two halves of the same key to longevity. A practical example makes this clear. Imagine two people of the same age and with similar eating habits, both consuming oatmeal every day. One walks for 30 minutes daily, while the other spends most of the day sitting. After a few months, the difference is stark. The first person reports more energy, balanced digestion, and stable lab results. The second faces constipation, fatigue, and tests showing increased blood sugar and cholesterol. Oatmeal is present in both routines, but the outcome depends directly on movement. And here is the crucial point: oatmeal is not a magic solution, but a tool. It needs to be used in conjunction with other pillars of health: quality sleep, hydration, movement, and stress management. When these factors are aligned, oatmeal truly becomes an ally for longevity. Now that you know the most common mistakes, it's time to take the final step, understanding how to turn oatmeal into a practical health guide, eliminating risks and reaping only the benefits. We've reached the decisive point. After revealing all the slip-ups, it's time to turn knowledge into practice. Oatmeal is not the enemy, on the contrary, it can be a great ally for health and longevity. But for that, we need to respect its limits and use it consciously. It's like driving a powerful car. Without skill, it can cause accidents. With care, it takes you far, safely and efficiently. Let's recap the 8 most dangerous mistakes: eating too much, preparing it with hidden sugars, mixing it with inflammatory ingredients, consuming it at the wrong time, ignoring quality, and the risk of contamination, forgetting to hydrate, believing it alone provides enough calcium, and finally, choosing instant versions that sabotage the benefits. These points are not irrelevant details, they are the true game changers between oatmeal that strengthens and oatmeal that weakens. Now, what can you do to avoid all this? The path is simple but powerful. Choose the right version, prefer rolled or quick cooking oats, avoiding instant processed ones. Control the portion, 2 to 3 tablespoons are enough. Prepare it lightly, no refined sugar, syrups, or condensed milk. Use fresh fruit, cinnamon, or pure cocoa for flavor. Combine intelligently, add proteins like yogurt or kefir and antioxidants like berries. Pay attention to the time. Prioritize it for breakfast or lunch, avoiding large quantities at night. Always hydrate, an extra glass of water for each portion of oatmeal. Don't forget your bones, supplement your diet with real sources of calcium. Get moving, make oatmeal the fuel for an active life. With these precautions, you'll have in your hands not just a food, but an ally against high cholesterol, unstable blood sugar, inflammation, and even cognitive decline. Oatmeal, when used consciously, is a tool for prevention and vitality. It doesn't perform miracles, but it can be part of a routine that gives you the energy to live well, with more disposition and independence at every stage of life. And here is the most important message: aging is not synonymous with losing health. Every choice made at the table is a vote for your quality of life. Small daily adjustments create great long-term results. The bowl of oatmeal you prepare tomorrow can be more than just breakfast. It can be an investment in your future, in your body, and in your mind. If this content has opened your eyes to details that nobody usually talks about, subscribe to the channel right now. That way, you'll get access to other tips that can transform not only the way you eat, but the way you age, with more strength, more health, and much more vitality.